At her wedding, I presented my sister with the title to a completely settled $320,000 apartment. She raised it high, chuckled, and declared, "Incorrect location. I won't reside in that low-end district," right before 180 attendees. I grinned, retrieved her Audi, halted her rental payments, and insisted on full repayment of every dollar she was indebted to me. The following dawn, a plain white packet waited outside my entrance. "My name is Robert. I'm 36, a general surgeon, the eldest sibling, the go-to contact for crises in the family, and the one who picks up calls even mid-procedure. I reside 3 blocks from the medical center since I'm perpetually on duty. I sip my coffee chilled because it's invariably cold by the time I reach it. I've settled more household expenses than I can count and convinced myself it was affection, not fragility. My sister Naomi is 28, stunning, vocal, captivating, the type who requests a cappuccino, tastes one mouthful, and returns it with a grin that forces the server to regret their choices. My parents label her delicate. What they imply is, norms don't bind her. Her ceremony occurred on a Saturday in June. 180 invitees, a violin ensemble, a pastry display. I showed up delayed because a gallbladder removal turned complicated and a patient required monitoring in recovery. I still arrived for the pictures. My necktie was askew. There was antiseptic residue on my cuff. The photographer instructed me to loosen my posture. I attempted. I carried a present in a beige packet within a dark portfolio. Not currency, not a draft. The title to a fully settled $320,000 apartment. 2 bedrooms, secure complex, 10 minutes from the medical center. I'd finalized the purchase 2 weeks prior. I skipped a ribbon because I figured a home didn't require packaging. At the banquet, the DJ silenced the tracks and the host announced, "We'll begin with a unique offering from the bride's brother." I rose, approached the stand, scanned 180 expressions, and passed Naomi the portfolio. My fingers stayed steady. I felt immense satisfaction in that. She extracted the title, scanned the location, and before the silence in the hall even deepened, angled the document toward the ceiling lights, chuckled, and stated into the stand, "Incorrect location. I won't reside in that low-end district." Attendees actually chuckled along, as if she'd cracked a witty remark. My mother pursed her mouth to conceal a grin. My father gazed at his tumbler. The groom, Evan, glanced downward. I sensed warmth rising my throat and halting behind my vision. I caught someone murmur, "Uncomfortable." Naomi elevated the title further, as though it were a tissue with a blemish. "Rob," she announced louder. Was this meant to be touching? I gulped. The hall anticipated. The violin ensemble shuffled pages of scores that weren't required for this moment. "Naomi," I uttered, striving to maintain my tone even, "best wishes." She flipped her gaze and returned the title as if it could tarnish her polish. "Next occasion," she added, "inquire." The DJ cleared his throat awkwardly. The host mumbled, "All right, toasts." And the hall progressed, because halls always progress. I reclined. My seat grated excessively on the surface. And I grinned, not because it amused, because a mechanism I hadn't realized was there had just engaged. Here's what no one in that hall knew, unless they monitored our family messaging at 2 a.m. When Naomi abandoned her second advanced degree, I settled her final term's dues to prevent collections. When her initial residence flooded due to her leaving the tap running, I covered the excess. When she committed to a lease beyond her means, I initiated a monthly wire, $21.50 on the first of each cycle. It was tagged, housing, short-term for 2 years. I acquired her an Audi 3 seasons back after she phoned me sobbing en route to my after-shift rest. "It's risky to operate the Civic," she claimed, and Evan insists appearance counts in property sales. I placed $20,000 initial, retained the financing under me since she couldn't qualify, and included her on my policy. She collided it with a lot column in month 3. The column lunged, she joked and giggled. I upgraded the protection. I funded aligners when she said her grin was her trademark. I paid for a cap when she cracked a stone fruit seed. I handled her mobile after she let it fall from a yacht. She dubbed me her personal card before her circle, and all chuckled like it was endearing. I chuckled too, since it was simpler than detailing how many 2 a.m. emergencies it required to serve as her card. My parents assisted in the manner folks assist with phrases. "We nurtured you to be giving," my mother states. "The divine granted you skills for a purpose." What she implies is, the tab falls to the firstborn. When I resist, she exhales. "You're a physician, Robert. Funds regenerate." When Naomi resists, Mom claims, she's yet discovering her path. There's an image on my device of my palm on the scrub basin spigot at 4:41 a.m. The note reads, "Yet discovering my path. I never dispatched it." Evan, the groom, shared with me once during drinks that he and Naomi maintained a dream collage. The collage featured a residence in the elevations, an al fresco cooking area, and a golden dog with a neckerchief. When I queried the segment on accumulating for an initial payment, Naomi gestured at the collage. Specifics are the Cosmos's responsibility. My Cosmos involves shift rosters and intestinal ruptures and youths with abdominal discomfort that is minor until it's critical. My Cosmos is documenting at midnight, inserting a thoracic drain at 2, and hearing my title mangled by a superior who mentored me and still misremembers it. My Cosmos is the brief, serene instance when a patient grasps my digits emerging from sedation, and I reflect, all right, this justifies it. And then my device vibrates with, Rob, can you transfer $580? My payout arrives next week, but the provider is oppressive. Or Rob, require $300 for floral backdrop deposit. Vow repayment post-transaction. Or from my mother, we're deficient for the food service, you'll handle. No punctuation. If you inquire how this commenced, it commenced as these patterns always do. One minor aid, then another, then all forget the boundary's location. Then your sister forwards you a venue hyperlink and inquires, as if bestowing you a gift, do you wish to fund something pleasant? Fund like I'm a corporation. 3 months prior to the ceremony, Naomi visited with a digital inspiration board and a pastry she ignored. I desire proximity to the energy, she explained, launching her screen. But meanwhile, we'll remain in the lease. Can you simply maintain the housing flow? And we require a vehicle enhancement before the post-wedding drive. The Q8 includes kneading functions. I was on duty. My alert sounded twice amid that discussion. Each instance, she exhaled as if the signal personally offended. I tested the term no in my mind. It emerged faint. Naomi, I can't continue funding all, she fluttered. You've always declared kin priority. You actually incise folks to rescue them, but you can't dispatch housing. I eyed the pile of records on my table. I pondered the training loans I had at last cleared 2 seasons ago by reciting like an intern 3 years beyond necessity. I pondered the apartment one of my trainees forfeited when his owner hiked the fee by $400. I pondered the patient who gifted me a sketch of a dwelling with my title on the postbox after I removed his gallbladder. He shaded the postbox azure. That's when the notion struck. A dwelling is security. A dwelling is not an accessory. A dwelling can be a limit masked as benevolence. I located an apartment in a solid, average area. Not inexpensive, not ostentatious, genuine. I registered it under me, planning to include Naomi post-ceremony. My attorney queried, "You're certain?" I affirmed and sensed a tension ease in my mandible. I did not seek Naomi's approval because I was weary of seeking approval to act correctly. I anticipated she'd weep the positive variety. I did not anticipate the expression she offered when she noted the avenue title. The expression that conveyed I had shamed her. 2 evenings before the ceremony, Naomi messaged me at 1:12 a.m. Can you manage $3,000 for the unrestricted bar enhancement? It's an atmosphere. I entered no. She replied with a lone weeping icon and then, you're so theatrical. My mother rang 5 minutes later. Just dispatch it, she instructed. Don't spoil her spirit. That was the final instance I agreed before the title. At the banquet, after she declared, incorrect location, folks advanced because there were orations to deliver and meat to serve. But the phrases didn't advance. They lingered above our seating like a lighting fixture that had loosened. My mother inclined. Don't scowl, she murmured. You're exacerbating it. Naomi signaled the arranger. Can we store the title? It's dampening my energy. Evan regarded me, then the portfolio in my grasp, then the ground. He left his beverage untouched. During the orations, my uncle remarked I had always been a supporter. He intended it as a claim. It seemed like a role I hadn't sought. The primary witness jested about the Audi being Naomi's initial affection. All chuckled. I sensed the chuckle in my molars. When the movement began, Naomi trapped me by the pastry display. Why would you act without consulting? She demanded. There was glaze on her forearm. That area is inferior to me. Inferior to you, I echoed. You understand my intent, she replied. Evan's customers will critique. I regarded Evan. He fixated on the decorative bulbs. We value the intent, he uttered gently. But we envisioned alternate. My mother approached, palms joined, tone honeyed. Robert, don't be inflexible. You can liquidate it and assist with an initial somewhere superior. It's not regarding funds. It's precisely regarding funds, I stated. Don't create a disturbance, she whispered sharply. I extracted my device, accessed a directory labeled Naomi and offered it to her. Captures, transfer logs, protection disbursements, the agreement with my mark, the Audi financing with my title, the housing wires, the alignment specialist, the cap, the arranger deposit from a card she wasn't cleared for. Each entry a compact, pointed truth. Naomi skimmed, flipped her gaze, and returned the device. So, you're fixated on tallying. No, I replied. I retained logs because I'm a physician and we document our actions. Evan glanced across her arm as if reviewing a record initially. His expression shifted. You've been funding the housing, he inquired softly. Naomi giggled. Don't be innocent, darling. Robert enjoys enacting savior. Another engagement. I eyed Naomi's arrangement. Large blooms, ivory blooms, greenery, costly. I eyed the Audi and the attendant row through the pane. I eyed my sister, who believed the globe owed her needing functions. "All right," I uttered, and I grinned. It was the precise grin I offer a conference when a superior attempts to alter the procedure record. Composed, neat. "All right, what?" she barked. "All right, I'm finished," I stated. "The housing wires cease this evening. The Audi fob, please, registration and financing are under me. I'll coordinate retrieval, and any sum you owe me will formalize in documents starting Monday." My mother emitted a noise like a steamer. "You will not shame us." "You shamed yourselves," I replied. I eyed the attendant through the pane and raised my palm. He delivered the Audi. Naomi gripped her arrangement firmer. Evan uttered, "Naomi, the fob." I repeated, composed, like requesting an instrument. Naomi fixated, then delved into her small clutch and smacked the device into my hand. "You're being harsh," she murmured. "I'm just being precise," I replied. "And I possess documentation." I pivoted to depart. My mother seized my fabric. "You will express regret." "For what?" I uttered. "For granting a dwelling." "For centering this on you," she replied. I exited with the Audi device between my digits, the title beneath my limb, and the odd buoyant sensation of a pressure band at last loosened. When I returned after midnight, there was a plain white packet on my threshold. No sender details, my title in neat capitals. I didn't unwrap the packet immediately. I cleansed off perspiration, bubbly mist, and the scent of flames from the site's outdoor warmers. I draped my attire over a seat. I consumed the dessert portion the food handler had tucked into a container and placed on my seating like a consolation prize. It savored like sweetener and plaster. Then I unsealed the packet. Within, a lone page and a pile of copies. The upper page was a message in Evan's script. "Robert, this is from me, not Naomi." I was unaware of the housing. I was unaware of the vehicle. I was unaware of all. I discovered these in her draft messages and captures. "I'm regretful for tonight's events. I'm uncertain about proceeding with this escape." The copies were communications, not to me. To my mother, to our relative, to an arranger. "Rob will settle it, just bill him. He relishes feeling essential." There was a roster titled Query Rob with figures beside each entry. Styling, cosmetics, sound enhancement. Arrangement launch sparkles. Audi cleaning, a closing entry. Apartment, perhaps if I weep. My palms trembled in a manner they never do when I grip a blade. My device hummed. "Mom," I allowed voicemail. She rang again and again. Then Naomi messaged, "You are ill. You destroyed my ceremony. All believe you exaggerated. Await the center learning." Evan messaged 10 minutes later. "I'm regretful. I was unaware. Are you residents?" I departed the packet. "I'm at my siblings." I returned the documents into the packet and placed it in a compartment. My alert pulsed. An intestinal blockage. Existence persists. At 4:35 a.m., amid directives and a referral entry, I messaged my attorney. Topic: kin. I appended a table I'd been subtly refreshing for a year. Sums, dates, remarks. Please prepare reimbursement packed with cyclic plan. Also require to reclaim vehicle to me, registration already under me, and halt all recurring outflows from my holdings. At 7:10 a.m., I contacted my institution and ended the cyclic $2150. I deleted Naomi from my protection. I rang the seller to arrange the Audi retrieval and requested to alter the profile codes. I updated the entry sequence at my apartment. By midday, the kin messaging was a spectacle. "Aunt Mara, Rob, express regret to your sibling. Cousin Leo, it's merely funds, dude. My mother, you are harsh. My father, restore the vehicle." Immediately, no one uttered, "We're regretful she shamed you," not once. I captured the copies from the packet. The roster called Query Rob. The notes to suppliers to merely bill him. I shared them in the kin messaging without remark. Input indicators, then quiet. At 3 p.m., the center's primary line alerted me. "Ring her for Dr. Abramson." I answered. It was my mother. She had located the switchboard. "Robert," she uttered in the tone she employed when I was 8 and had dragged soil in the dwelling. "Cease this absurdity. You created a display. You elevated a display." I replied. "You're a physician," she retorted. "Physicians don't quarrel over funds. Physicians fail financially constantly." I replied. "I won't be among them because my kin assumes I generate currency in the duty area." She attempted another approach. "If your father suffers a cardiac event due to this, then he should visit the urgent care." I replied. "And he'll receive superior attention from a group of experts who don't take pastry displays as compensation." At 7 p.m., Evan messaged again. I informed Naomi I'm delaying the escape. "She's at your parents'. She claims you seized the vehicle. She's sharing on social." I accessed the platform. Naomi had shared a tale. An image of the Audi with the note, "He seized my ceremony escape vehicle because he's a resentful small person." I captured the ownership under me and forwarded to her. She shared another tale. "He's bothering me. Remarks poured. Affections. Flame symbols. You merit superior monarch." I placed my device screen down. I prepared noodles. I observed it simmer. I reflected on the instance at the stand when she chuckled and how swiftly the hall joined. How simple it is to chuckle when you assume the target will still settle the tab. The following dawn there was another plain white packet on my threshold, same neat capitals within. A message from Naomi's attorney demanding I restore the seized transport and compensate a $50,000 ceremony offering deficit. The heading was a search engine file format. The mark was a scrawl. The sender location was my parents' residence. I chuckled, not kindly. I responded with an actual attorney's message by midday. It was brief and dull in the manner that alarms, dates, sums, laws, terms like misappropriation and unfair gain. It enclosed a reimbursement cycle, $1,000 on the first of each cycle until the obligation cleared. It provided her 30 days to mark, or we'd meet in a tribunal where platform notes don't matter. At 2 p.m., Evan appeared at my entrance. He appeared unrested. He passed me Naomi's residence key. She issued me in demand, he stated. Either I support her or I'm not masculine. I don't believe I'm her masculine type. I brewed coffee. He left it. He fixated on the packet on my surface. I was unaware, he repeated. I assumed you enjoyed it. Enjoyed what? I queried. Caring for her, he stated. I enjoy caring for those who care for themselves also. I stated. Those differ, he assented. I'm regretful. You don't owe me regret, I stated. But you owe yourself a boundary. He eyed the surface. I believe I located it. That evening, my mother rang from Naomi's device. Restore the vehicle, dispatch the funds, and we'll overlook this. We won't overlook it, I stated, but I will advance. Without your kin, she queried, appalled. I pondered your illuminations. The calm in the center at 3 a.m. The trainee who delivers poor brew and queries, you all right. The attendant who places a snack on my station when I skip meals. The watchman who acknowledges me when I head to my transport at sunrise. Yes, I stated. With my kin. A cycle later, the apartment in the low-end district is leased to a child health attendant and her companion. They placed a container on the terrace and forwarded me an image of the dusk, like I've never viewed that perspective of glow. They compensate promptly. They adore the serene corridors and the market opposite. They inform me the owner responds to notes quickly. He does. The Audi rests in my storage. I operate it on rests to maintain the power. It's excessive and fluid and retains Naomi's tropical scent regardless of how often I cleanse the surfaces. I'll liquidate it when the ownership shift is orderly. For now, it is a memento I don't desire, but also don't object to viewing. Naomi didn't mark the reimbursement plan in 30 days. My attorney submitted and abruptly her manner altered. The banned images ceased. The tailies went restricted. Evan relocated to his siblings' extra space. He forwarded me a capture last week. I'm compensating my portion, he wrote. Even if we don't conclude wedded, it's mine too. His portion is $200 a cycle. He tagged it obligationy I didn't query. He acted regardless. A boundary. My parents haven't called. They dispatched a note through Aunt Mara. We will mend when you recall your identity. I eyed a reflector after a 12-hour shift, removed a mark of iodine from my face, and uttered aloud. I recall. In the center, nothing shifted and all did. Intestines still rupture. Adolescents still arrive with discomfort that is minor until it isn't. I still document until my palm aches. I still exhaust tolerance and rest in my transport afterward fixating on a wheel I can't force. But the underlying drone, the one that claimed I owed the Globe a portion of my earnings, because I had credentials post-title, silenced. I tidy my residence now on rests. I prepare poorly and ideally for one. I silence my device occasionally. I stroll to the produce bazaar. The vendor who offers stone fruit calls me physician with the weary gaze and provides one additional fruit on days when I appear like someone who requires a minor sweet item. I do. Last rest a trainee queried me how to decline a kin that keeps demanding. She waited in the entrance, rotating a writer, courageous enough to train incision, fearful to utter a term. You utter it once, I instructed her, and intend it. Then you utter it again when they feign not hearing. Does it simplify? She queried. No, I stated, but you fortify. She assented, noted that like it was a remedy amount, and departed to input a referral. I waited in the duty space eyeing the marker panel where someone had sketched an uneven affection around the term group. Sometimes I reflect on the instance Naomi elevated the title to the lighting glow and chuckled. It still aches, not due to the funds, due to the signal. You are insufficient unless you offer me more. That signal resided in my thorax for 36 years. I removed it. The lesson isn't elaborate. It's not shareable. It's this. I won't permit anyone to handle my benevolence like a dispenser ever again. I won't compensate for my seat at a kin table. I won't mix quiet for calm. I will not be a mobile finance line with a listener. Yesterday, a plain white packet appeared again. My gut sank. I lifted it like it could sting. Within, a lone note in Naomi's script. I can't fathom you're inflicting this on me. Mom claims you'll yield ultimately. No regret, no mark. I placed the note in the compartment with the other documents. I brewed coffee. I set my device to silent. I unsealed the panes. The urban breeze entered warm and slightly soiled. It savored like season and transports and potential. Then I strolled to the center with firm palms, thankful for the labor that reminds me who I am when others attempt to claim otherwise. And when my alert pulsed, I didn't ponder ceremony orations or pastry displays. I pondered the serene instance after sedation when a patient grasps my digits and I grasp back, and we both comprehend what I'm present to do. I am present to incise, to repair, to decline what fractures me, and to retain what maintains me intact. And that encompasses my funds, my fobs, my hours, and my title.